Hi there, it's Margaret from Days Well Spent, and in this workshop we're going to show you how to build an expandable compost bin.
Okay, we're going to show you how to make one panel, and then you're going to make two more identical to it after you do the first panel. Okay, now we're going to start putting the boards together that we've cut for the side panels. So you've got 6 of the 3-footers, and you have 6 of the 33-inch. This is the 33-inch board, and this is the 36-inch board. And line that board up, and this is where we're going to put our construction screws. I like using screws instead of nails because they don't pull out over a period of time. So we flipped it over once we got the first board on. Now we're going to put the other 36-inch board on top of the 33-inch boards and screw it down the same way that we did the other side. Okay, so once you get together, that gives you a perfect 3 by 3 foot square frame. As you can see, there's 3 foot and 3 foot. Pull your mesh over. Best thing is to line one corner up first and get a couple staples in it. Hold it into place. Then go to your second corner and line it up where it's even with the top, and then get a couple staples in place. Now you're going to have about 1/4 of an inch on this. It's just the way the mesh is designed that you're going to have to trim off. So don't staple this side down. Instead, you can go ahead and staple all or these 2 sides first. Then we have to cut the excess off on the back, and then the last will cut the 1/4 inch off of the side.
So once you've got the wire mesh stapled down on your frame, you're ready to move on to the next frame. You want to follow the exact same procedure until you have all 3 frames.
Now that you have your side panels built, you're going to take your 4x4s, and we're going to bolt the 4x4s to one of the side panels on both ends first. And this is going to help provide the framework for our bin.
The easiest way to do this is to go ahead and lay it down on a level surface. So that's what we're doing here. You've got your 2 ends mounted. We're going to go ahead and grab another panel, and we're going to start forming our box. And what we've decided to do is make sure that our mesh is on the inside. That's going to mean that this board is on the outside, so compost isn't going to lay against it, and we're not going to have to worry about this wood rotting away.
And then we're going to do another panel on the other side exactly the same way.
Now that we have the side panels attached to the 2 rear posts, we're going to go ahead and install the 2 front posts.
The easiest way to do this is just take a 2x4, because you need to cut the correct length. Sit it on that lower brace we just made, and take a pencil and just mark the top of your 4x4, because that's how long it needs to be. And then cut it at your mark, and do that for both sides. Okay, now we're gonna measure in 2 inches in on one of our 2x4s that we cut for our basically our rail holders. And then if you have a straight edge, you can use that, or you can just use another 2x4 and make a line all the way from your mark to mark, 2 inches in. This is going to allow you to line it up on your frame to bolt it to your frame. You come to the front of your bin, and that line, you're going to just put it at the edge of your corner post, that 4x4, and that's just so that you can, when you bolt this on, that it's going to be straight. And you'll come around to the front, and we're going to put screws on it to hold it. Put one screw in at the top first. Get it started before you line it up. Then you can come in and line up the top part first. Go to the bottom. Check your line at the bottom. Adjust it if need be. And secure it as well. And then do the same on the other side. Okay, now we've got to do our back rail that's going to hold our boards for the front. So you're going to place the 2x2 on the ground because you're going to want it to be able to hold that very bottom board. In the same way you did with the front rail support, you're just going to mark at the top of the 4x4 and cut on your line, and do that for both sides. All right, now before we mount these inside rails, you're going to have to decide what type of boards or fascia that you want on your bin, and you're going to have to cut at least one of those boards to length. So it's going to go from the inside of the 4x4 to the inside of the other 4x4 all the way across. We're going to just use fence boards because we already had them, and they're cheap. Okay, once you get your board cut for the bottom, it should be right at 3 feet because the inside of the bin is 3 foot square. You're going to sit that first front piece of board right down there at the bottom, and you're going to push it up against the outside frame. Then you're going to take that little 2x2 foot inch piece, and you're going to butt it up against that, and you're going to screw it in there, and that's going to provide the correct spacing you need for your lower board to fit. Now you may want to back it up a little bit, leave about a 1/16 of an inch, so that it has some give and is able to slide up and down without binding. Now at this point, we're not going to secure the top. You're going to put the other side on just like you did this one. Okay, now we take a board, one of your boards you cut for the front. You're going to slide it all the way up to the top. It should kind of hold into place. And you're going to adjust the top part, and you're going to bolt it in as well, just like you did the bottom. Leaving about a 1/16 of an inch, which will give you room for this to slide up and down. And then do the same thing on the other side. Okay, once you get the top part mounted, we're going to go ahead and put one in the middle, actually probably a couple of them, to hold it in place along the length of the race.
So now we're going to cut the boards that are going to go in the front facing. That's what's going to create sort of a door. It's going to keep everything in. Like Scott mentioned, we're just using some fence boards. They're cheap enough to replace as they break down. And we also had quite a few left over from a fence section that we replaced. So you're going to measure it. Ours is 36 inches. If you followed our measurements for the wood, yours should be the same. Alright, so you're just going to put it between those two runners that we made and slide it down in place. Go ahead and cut enough to go all the way to the top. Alright, so we've got it together enough. We're going to go ahead and lift it and put it in place. It's going to be against this back fence wall. And that was one of the reasons we made this into little sections like we did, is we can move it if we need to. It's easy to add bins on. Eventually we'll have a 3-bin section here again, the same as we have the 3-bin section for our tumblers. Alright, so all of the slats are in place. Our bin is in the corner. Like I said, we're going to add another section to it. We're actually going to start working on that later today, but we want to go ahead and close this out and let you see the finished bin. I'm going to have Scott go ahead and remove a slat, just kind of give you an idea of how it works. So when you're ready to stir your compost, you just take out a couple of slats, use a pitchfork or whatever you want. You dig in there, turn your compost around. When you're done, you place your slats back into the runners there. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions about building your own compost pile, be sure to let us know. And if you decide to make one of your own, we'd love to see what you make.